steps on how to find our research.
Very good. We learned the first 3 steps of the research process. What do those steps entail? Amelia, give me one. What's the first thing we do?
We decided on our topic.
You decided on your topic. Give me the second one. Do you remember? Yes. So we got our topic.
Resources?
Okay, so, well, before we can figure out what resources, what do we have to do?
Create a question.
Create a question. We have to formulate our question, what we're going to look for. And then we got to look for our resources that we're going to use. Right? So what resources, let's brainstorm on what kind of resources do you use when you're doing a research? What are some that we could do? Give me one. Videos.
Websites.
Websites. Periodicals. Excellent. Nonfiction books. Did you have another one?
No, he said what
You
mine
got
was.
to. Very good. What about news broadcasts? Yes. And we can find those where?
On TV.
Very good. We can find copies of those on YouTube, and probably different news organizations have those archived. Very good. So are all of these resources that we use credible?
No.
Are they all factual? No? I see some are not sure, some are saying no. What's the difference between a credible resource and one that is not credible? What do you think?
Videos such as blogs are full of opinions, not necessarily facts.
Very good. So blogs can be full of opinions more than facts. Could they have facts in there?
Yes.
Yes. But sometimes when we're talking and we have our own opinion, we have a little bias, so we might talk more about the things that support than things that contradict their opinion or their question. Very good. Anything else? So do you think it's important that we have credible sources?
Yes.
Yes. Well, in our last lesson when we met, we looked at some of those, right? We looked at some credible websites because I'd already vetted those and I looked at them and said, yeah, these are good, these are safe, let's go to these. And we practiced formulating questions and we practiced doing what? Once we formulated our question, what did we do next? Do you remember what we did after we found our topic? We formulated a question, then we started looking for our information. And then what did we do with our information? What did we do? We do what? Well, think about it. Once we got our information, what did we do? Very good. We took the information we wanted that supported our topic and our question. We wrote it on here, and then what did we put on the back? Do you remember what we put on the back?
We put on.
You want to help them out? Our source, where we got our information from. That's very important. We want to make sure we cite our sources because of why. What do we don't want to do? What is it we don't want to do?
We wouldn't be giving the people credit.
Very good. We want to give people credit for their ideas and their thoughts and their research, right? Just like you would want credit for yours. Okay, very good. That was a good review. All right, so today we're going to do informational literacy, and we're going to learn how to evaluate sources for research. So you remember I said we're going to do a short lesson on how to figure out if something's credible or not when we're looking at it. So there's a couple of things that we're going to learn. We're going to learn 4 new words, and you might already know what they are, but I'm going to review them to make sure that you know, because there's 4 areas that we're going to focus on when we are going to do our, when we go to evaluate our resources or web pages. Okay? So let's look at our learning intention today. Today you're going to you'll be able to determine the quality of sources for research. So we're going to be able to find quality sources for our research. And we'll know that we learned all of this because you'll be able to identify them based on the 4 different criteria areas that we're going to look at, which are relevance, accuracy, bias, and reliability. Okay, you're going to be able to do that by the end of this lesson today. Y'all good? Give me a thumbs up if everybody's with me. Okay, so before we begin, you have a materials basket, and in your materials basket, you're going to have a few handouts, and I put extras in there today in case you get real excited and you want to do a couple of additional websites. And once you start doing your research for your own, you'll have an extra copy of some of these so that you can use it whenever you start doing your own individual research as well. So you're going to have a checklist. You're going to have a flow chart. You're going to have it's a graphic organizers with 4 little sections, and that's going to be what we're going to use first. There's some extra pens in here, and then there's some note cards for taking notes if you need them. Everybody good? You'll have all those things in there? So today, normally we would use other resources like books and periodicals, but today we're just going to focus on websites. So you're just going to use your computer, and everybody should be have it pulled up and ready to go when we get to the part where we're using our computer. Y'all all good? Okay. All right. So first off, we're going to explore a couple of different web pages. I'm going to pull up some things and we're going to look, and then we're going to compare and talk about if we think they're credible sources or if we think they're not credible sources. You ready?
It isn't only in Britain that spring this year has taken everyone by surprise. Here, in the Ticino, on the borders of Switzerland and Italy, the slopes overlooking Lake Lugano have already burst into flower, at least a fortnight earlier than usual. But what, you may ask, has the early and welcome arrival of bees and blossom to do with food? Well, it's simply that the past winter, one of the mildest in living memory, has had its effect in other ways as well. Most important of all, it's resulted in an exceptionally heavy spaghetti crop. The last 2 weeks of March are an anxious time for the spaghetti farm. There's always the chance of a late frost, which, while not entirely ruining the crop, generally impairs the flavor and makes it difficult for him to obtain top prices in world markets. But now these dangers are over, and the spaghetti harvest goes forward. Spaghetti cultivation here in Switzerland is not, of course, carried out on anything like the tremendous scale of the Italian industry. Many of you, I'm sure, will have seen pictures of the vast spaghetti plantations in the Po Valley. For the Swiss, however, it tends to be more of a family affair. Another reason why this may be a bumper year lies in the virtual disappearance of the spaghetti wheel, a tiny creature whose depredations have caused much concern in the past. After picking, the spaghetti is laid out to dry in the warm alpine sun. Many people are often puzzled by the fact that spaghetti is produced at such uniform length, but this is the result of many years of patient endeavor by plant breeders who've succeeded in producing the perfect spaghetti. And now, the harvest is marked by a traditional meal. Toasts to the new crop are drunk in these pocolinos, and then the waiters enter bearing the ceremonial dish, and it is, of course, spaghetti, picked earlier in the day, dried in the sun, and so brought fresh from garden to table at the very peak of condition. For those who love this dish, there's nothing like real homegrown spaghetti.
Okay, so interesting. What did we learn from that? Okay, that they pick spaghetti. Where does it grow? Sunflowers. So what do you think about this video? Did you learn something new that you didn't know? Did? What did you learn? Did y'all believe that? I got kind of worried there for a minute because some of y'all were like, wow, I didn't know spaghetti grew. Do the spaghetti grow on trees? What is spaghetti? It's made from wheat or flour. It's pasta, right? We make it. Okay, just so you know, this is not a credible resource, right? Did it look real? It did. It looked
Attention
very
staff and
real.
students, please pardon the interruption. For all students that are participating in the academic recovery on Saturdays, just a reminder, there is no Saturday school this Saturday. I repeat, there is no no Saturday school this Saturday. We will continue after this weekend. Bye.
Yes. Excellent. You know, and you make a good point. You all already have some prior knowledge about spaghetti, right? You know spaghetti's made and it's pasta and that it doesn't grow on trees. But this resource looks credible, right? It was actually the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Company, which is a news outlet over in Britain. It actually ran this, but it was an April Fool's joke on all of the citizens, and you could tell it was old, right? It was from 1957, a long time ago. So it was a long time ago. It looked old. We already had a base of prior knowledge, so we kind of already knew it. I don't think spaghetti grows on trees, but who knows, right? So what they did is they had, back in 1957, spaghetti wasn't real popular in Britain. A lot of the Britons didn't eat spaghetti, so they didn't know anything about it. And so the BBC decided to play an April Fool's joke, and they made this. And so, but what happened with that is a lot of people kept calling in and saying, "Hey, that's not true. That's not how it's made. This is false information." But there was also a lot of people that wrote in and said, "Wow, I didn't know spaghetti grew on trees." They really believed it. And so that particular source, if you were doing your research paper on spaghetti and you came across that, there's a lot of red flags that pop up, right, when you're watching that. Okay, keep that in mind. Let's look at this next one. Okay, so this next one is just a web page that I pulled out. So this web page is about dhmo.org, and it's about dihydrogen monoxide research division. Okay, so it's talking about how this chemical is actually really, really dangerous, and it causes cancer, and it's all in all of our foods, and we use it just to survive and all of that. And it has all kinds of information in here. Send us your feedback. It looks pretty legitimate, doesn't it? It looks like a legitimate web page. There are some things on here that make me look at it and say, I wonder if this is legitimate. What's the first thing I might do? Do you know what DHMO is? Anybody? I didn't either. So I was like, okay, I wonder what it is. So they talk briefly about how there's reports of it in our environment, causing cancer, current research. So it has a lot of words in there that make me think, maybe this is legitimate. But then I look up here and I see the DHMO store. It's a store. And what are they trying to collect here? Money. So they're selling something. So what could this be? An advertisement? Yeah, they're trying to sell something. So anyways, so when I was looking at this, I was thinking, okay, is this a legitimate site? And then I wasn't real sure, so I kind of looked around and looking for more things. So I went and, let me see if I have it down here. I pulled up, I went to the dictionary to find out what DHMO or it was. Guess what it is? It's water. It's water. Dihydrogen monoxide is technically correct name for it, but it's really used. But that's just its chemical name. So it's really used as, we just call it water or H2O. So, anyways, this was a hope to invoke fear in the minds of people who were scientifically uninformed. So they were trying to trick people, and they were selling stuff like, oh, buy this chemical and we can get the DHMO out of your food. So what would it do is it would dehydrate your food. It takes all the water out of it. Anyways, they found out that it was actually a prank. But I wouldn't have known that unless I did a little bit more research, right? I had to go a little bit deeper and find out exactly what it is. When I found out what it was, I was like, okay, I know that's a hoax, right? But it looked legitimate, right? Okay. So let's look at the next thing. Go to down here. So what I did report that, right? So I could go and do that to tell me. I can also go down here to learn more. They give, see all the information that's on here? Is it anywhere asking me to spend money? No. Is it giving me any opinions about these are bad or these are good or you should do this? You know, it's not really giving me, it's just giving me information, right? And when I come down here to the bottom, this is something that I found real important is, you see where it says February 27th, 2020? What does this say? What does that mean? Very good. So is this old information like 1957? No, this is 2020. This is just a couple years ago they came in. So although it's not 2022 exactly current, this information is being updated because they even have a thing right here where they show you every time that they update it, right? So that I found to be something that was interesting. And then also down here at the bottom, the other webpage did not have this information where I could go and look up and find out information. There's an index, there's other subjects, teachers can access it, there's different links on here to help. So, does this seem like a credible resource? Yes. Yes, this is much better when it comes to trying to figure out if something's credible or not, right? Okay, let's continue on. I just wanted to give you, explore a few more of those. All right, so let's get back caught up. So we went there. All right, so here's the first thing that I want you all to be aware of. So if you will get out your first handout, everybody gets your handout that has the graphic organizer. So we've got it out of their box. So, as I'm going through these next 4 slides, you can refer back to this little handout. You don't have to write anything right now. I just wanted you to be able to see the words as I'm going over it. And if you want to jot down the definition, you can. As far as the questions for each of these slides, I already have those for you as well. So if you want to look in here, the second handout says evaluating source checklist. All the questions that I'm going to talk, I've already written out for you. So if you want to put those beside you, you can have those to the side as well. So you don't really have to take any notes today because I've already gotten them here. And these things, these checklists and flowcharts and things that I'm going to give you, I want you to keep these. We're going to put those in our folders that we have with our research in it because it's going to be things you're going to want to refer back to. Everybody good? Give me a thumbs up if you're all with me. Everybody have their handouts? Okay. So let's look at this first one. The word we're going to look at today is called relevance. Relevance means the information is important and related to the reading purpose or your research question. That's what relevance is. Okay? It means that it's important and related to what you're looking for. So if you're looking at coral reefs and you come across something about elephants, is that relevant? No, they're not even in the same habitat. But if it's coral reefs and it's talking about plankton, could those be relevant? Yes. Okay. What else? Did you want to add?
Clownfish.
Clownfish. Very good. Yes. So if there's certain kinds of fish that you know that hang around the reefs and whatnot, that could be relevant, and that's something that you would go and continue reading and find out if it really related to yourself. So, relevance. Does anybody have any question about what relevant means? It means, what's the word? Related. Relevance related. That's how you make that connection. All right, so when I go to a website and I want to know if it's relevant, these are the questions I may ask myself, and they're on your checklist. So I may say, how old is this site? Remember the 1957 video? Is that probably relevant? No, that would be a little bit too old. I want to get something that's maybe in the last, within the last 5 years or the last 10 years, depending on what my topic is. Does the site specialize in the information? So that means, if it specializes about it, remember the coral reef one? Did it specialize in the information about coral reefs? Because it had a lot of different information about coral reefs, how they're formed, protected, how it gets destroyed, things like that. So you want to make sure that it's talking about it. So that website that we went to was a government website, right? Because it was a state park that we're talking about. So they probably specialize in that area of that topic or that subject. Next, does the site go in depth about a topic? Does it give you a bunch of information? Does it give you links that you can go and look at other things? That will help us determine if it's relevant. Does the site cover a bunch of unrelated topics? So if it goes off on a tangent and talks about all kinds of other things, like visit our store, buy this, look at this video, it's probably not going to be as reliable as you would want or as credible. Is the information useful? And is it high quality information? Is it stuff that you're learning more about or directly goes with your topic? And does the site offer new information that you can't find in any other source? That's also something. If it's relevant, it may offer new research, something like that. Okay? Any questions? Y'all good with relevant? Anybody have a question about the questions? Y'all understand all those? Okay, let's move on. Accuracy. Everybody say accuracy with me.
Accuracy.
One more time.
Accuracy.
Accuracy. This means that the facts are true and able to be verified. Could we verify the spaghetti tree facts? No, I think it'd be really hard for us to find any spaghetti tree information on any other website. Were the facts about the spaghetti tree true? Were the facts about the DHMO chemical true? They might have been based in truth, but they were misleading, right? So I would say they weren't true because they were misleading us, right? So if you can verify, if you can go to other websites, and if you can prove, and you know that that's an accurate fact, and it's true, then it's accuracy, you would check that box. Okay? So, is the site accurate? Can I check this information somewhere else? What sources are used by my office? So I might go look and see, many times if it's a credible source, they'll have a little reference where they show you everywhere they got their information. So they are citing and giving credit to their information that they're giving you. So that helps with accuracy. When was it last updated? Remember that on that page we just looked at, when we looked when last updated? Are there a lot of spelling mistakes? If there's a lot of spelling mistakes or links that, have you ever clicked on a link and it goes nowhere, it gives you like an error 404, that kind of thing. So if there's a lot of broken links or a lot of spelling mistakes, I don't know how credible that would be, because that to me says that maybe one person put that information in, but no one went back to fact check or to edit it or to look at it with them. Because usually when we do pair editing, what do? We find other people's mistakes, right? And we help. So it's kind of a second set of eyes. And then, is there any outdated or obviously wrong information on that site? When we saw that in the DHMO, right? Right. Okay. Accuracy. Say it one more time.
Accuracy.
So y'all know what that is. Is it true and able to be verified? Okay. Let's move on. Y'all got a thumbs up on that one? Anybody? Okay. Bias. Now, say bias with me.
Bias.
One more time.
Bias.
Bias. When a source is shown to have a preference or a certain viewpoint, like they're pushing you to think a certain way. Okay? A lot of times we go on websites, you get information and you make your own decision. Right? So if you have one that keeps pushing you to try to think their way or to support, and they only give you one side of the story and not both, that's going to be a bias. So this is the questions you're going to ask yourself to figure out if your site or your website's biased. What's the purpose? Is it to make money? Is it to advertise? Is it to persuade you? Who created it? Is it an organization that thinks one particular way, that's trying to push you direction? Can anyone add content to, or is it controlled? So earlier Ethan said Wikipedia. The thing with Wikipedia is, yes, you can get lots of good information, and I really, really like looking at Wikipedia when I'm looking up history. You know, if I'm, I like to hear different stories and put them together. But in Wikipedia, people can go in and edit other people's work. It's controlled by everyone that's working on that website. So it's not controlled enough for me to use it as a source, as a credible source. Because can somebody go in there and put false information? Yes. And then you can report it and have it changed or deleted or whatever. But in the meantime, before they do that, a lot of people might have gotten this information. So when you use Wikipedia, be very careful. Okay? So, who's the target audience? Who are they trying to give this information to? Who are they targeting? Are they targeting children, adults, sports players? It just depends on who they're trying to talk to, who they're trying to persuade. Does the site try to present all sides of the story? So does it give you both sides? We talked about that. What opinions are expressed on these sites? How the objective or the tone. Sometimes you can, y'all know, when we talk about tone and mood in ELA and our reading, tone and mood are two different things, right? Mood is how you feel when you're reading it, how it creates. Is it scary? Is it suspenseful? And tone is kind of the words, how the author uses those words to so like, is it angry? Is it angry tone? Is it aggressive? Those kinds of things. So you have to pay attention to that. And does the information promote forms like bigotry, racism, or biases? So if it's something that's trying to incite you to join this and be mad about that or support this, you have to be very careful because we know that there can be some biases in that. Those are the kind of things, if it hits any of these kind of questions, you can kind of say, yeah, no, it doesn't meet the level of bias, it's too biased or whatever, and we don't want to use that. So this is an important step. Y'all got it? Questions? Comments? Thumbs up? Okay. Let's move on. And the last one. Reliable. Say reliable with me.
Reliable.
One more time.
Reliable.
Reliable. Reliable means the information comes from a trustworthy source or a knowledgeable source. Okay? So that means they've done some research. They're trustworthy. That means you can trust the information that you're giving. The websites that y'all used last time when we met, they were trustworthy source because I've already looked at it and said yes. These are safe, they're trustworthy, they were reliable. So, does the site look like it was made by experts? Remember, we don't want a lot of spelling mistakes, a lot of broken links, because we want to make sure that the people, these are experts that know what they're talking about, right? Are the authors qualified? So you might go and look up and say, because they have authors on the site, go look at them. Are they, third grade students from Ms. Wilkes' class? Is that where you want to get your information from? Or do you want to get it from a professor from a university that studies animals? Very good. He has a little bit more expertise in the area. Is the site trying to sell you something? Big. We know that from that cousin. Do other reliable sites, do they have links to other reliable sites? Now, here's what I want you to pay attention to. Y'all know at the end of every web page or address, it might have ORG for organization, like a school. It might have EDU, that's like at the end of universities, they have EDU, like .com, .gov. GOV is government, like the webpage we went to that was on Coral Reefs, it was the state park. And .info. .info is one that anyone can use. And .com is like commercials. Okay, so when your parents are looking to go, buy something at Lowe's, they're going to go to Lowe's.com because they're going to be a kind of a commercialized business or advertising and selling stuff. This is important. Pay attention to that when you're looking at your web pages, okay? To see what kind of site domain it has. All right? Y'all good? Questions? Thumbs up? Everybody good? All right. So, those are the 4 areas that we're going to pay attention to. And this is your checklist that you have in front of you. So everybody kind of look at it. So, we're fixing to practice this. Okay? And I would like for you, and if you want to write on this, you can. I have extras that you can have clean copies for later. But these are the questions that we just talked about. They're kind of condensed, and I made them a little bit simpler for you. But those are the questions we're going to use. So everybody look at it real quick, see if you have any questions about those. Does it look good? Okay. Everybody? All right. So we're going to use this. And the next thing is I want you to grab this little flow chart, how to evaluate websites. This is just a little extra something that I put in here. For those of you, maybe the questions are not the format that you like to use. Some of us learn differently. I like the flow chart because it's a yes or no, and it gives you a question, and then you say yes or no. If it says yes, you follow the yes arrow, and you go on to the next question. If it says no, it says, maybe you should try a different website. This may not be credible. Okay, so this might be a resource that you use when you're doing your research as well. So everybody take a quick look at that. Any questions? So everyone remember, you open the site, you skim read. Everybody know what skim read is? You look at it real quick. We don't have to read the whole thing. We can skim through and look. Answer your question, yes or no. If you get a no, it says, can I read and understand this text? If you're reading it and you can't understand, remember the 5-finger check we do in our books when we're looking for a library book? We open it up, we read a page, and if we come across 5 words that we don't know on that page, what is that?
Too
Put
hard.
it back because it's probably a little bit too hard for us. So if we come across one that has 2 words we don't know, it's probably okay. Because it might be a little challenging, but it's probably something that, it's not going to affect our comprehension. So do that as well. If it's too difficult, then it's not going to do us any good if we don't understand it. We can't teach someone else and if we can't understand what it is we're teaching, right? So if it's yes, you go to the next question. Does it answer my question? Go back and look at your formulated question. Remember, we can change our question if we need to, right? But if we stick with our question, if it doesn't answer our question or go with our topic, do we want to continue with it? No. Right. So if it's no, try a different source. Alter your search. If it's yes, is it credible author? So now we're looking at the author. Is he credible, expert, not? If yes, does the purpose of this site meet my needs? Is it giving me what I need? Is it addressing part or all of my question? Is it designed to educate, persuade, or sell? Yes or no? Same thing. And then lastly, is the information current enough? If it's current enough, what's current mean?
Like if it was updated.
Updated.
Like last year or the year before.
Very good. Very
Not
good.
if it's like the spaghetti.
Exactly. Not if it's back in 1957. That's probably not current enough. So this is just a quick one that you can use, and it'll help you go through. So if you get, and you're having a lot of no's, what do you got to do? Go to a different website. Very good. Okay. So we just talked to that. We open, we skim, we look, we consider, and we look. And that is the web page, or that's the flow chart that we just did. Okay? Next, remember, these are 3 things I want you to remember. You cannot believe everything you read or see. Can we believe the spaghetti tree? I hope not. It is essential to consider multiple perspectives. That means you should go to a bunch of different websites. You shouldn't just use website to do your whole paper. So you can find a web page, but you also need to use other. You might find 2 web pages that help you, but make sure you look for 3 different kinds of sources. And if in doubt, bounce back to your original search and just start all over. Okay? So these are the 3 things that we're talking about today. If you find no that it's not credible, just go back to your original search and start right over. Any questions? Okay. So, what we're going to do now is, with your partner, here are a bunch of web addresses that I want you to go to. I want you to pick one, because right now we don't have a whole lot of time left, so I want you with your partner to choose any one of these web addresses. Go to that web page, and I want you to use your graphic organizer to answer these questions. So write the web address, the website at the top, which one you picked, be any of those, and then I want you to fill in these boxes. If they are credible, accurate, relevant, reliable, biased, and I want you to put your notes on there. I don't think this is because, or yes, I think it is because, and I want you to tell me some of the things that you find. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to call in each group, and y'all are going to tell me what page you use, or what website you use, and you're going to tell me if it's credible or not credible. Y'all got it? We're going to practice it. Does everybody know what you're going to do? How many of these do you need to do? You have to do 1. If you finish one and you want to move on to the second one, can you do that? Yes. As soon as everybody finishes one, we'll do a quick check to make sure that we're doing it right. Secondly, you have your computers, so you can pick whichever one of these websites. Do you have to do, you and your partner need to agree on one, okay? What else? So do we have to address all 4 of these boxes in all 4 of these areas? Yes, we do. We need to know if it's accurate, biased, reliable, and relevant. Now, if we get, let's say that we found that 3 out of the 4 were yes, is that a credible source? Possibly. So what you'd have to do at that point is you have to determine which boxes are most important to you. If there's some biases in there, could it still be credible, or could there be information you could still use? Yes. So then you could say overall it's a credible resource. So then we'll look at that together. That'll be our last step. Any questions? Y'all ready? Okay, so go ahead and get started, and then I will come around and help you. And if you have questions, raise your hand. Okay? So y'all find out what sources you want to do. Which one did you, oh, Dog Island? Which one did you, are y'all looking at a couple different ones? Oh, you got Dog Island. Okay, all right, excellent. Okay, everyone's got their web? Yes, everybody's got their website.
are y'all doing?
Just said, send us your dog. Nothing much. Look.
I'm hearing some really good conversations.
This is
I've even heard a couple of people disagree, which I like to hear that too. We learn best when we
Send us your dog. I don't know if we really know what to do with it, but. And look at, wait, scroll down, it says everything.
So y'all move on to your next. That's very good.
My dog's going to be. Oh, that would just like send us your dog. Yeah, look, there's a dog. There's a dog in it. Wait, look. Wait, look. This.
That was very good. That was a good question.
That's a box, a giant wooden box. Wait,
It's
it says
you just tell me which
ride flat. Wait, it says they came, it was copyrighted in 2003.
You are doing a really good job. You have about 3 minutes.
What?
I heard I don't know. What's that?
I don't think it's like this whole like sentence. Like I don't think it makes sense.
If your dog is accepted, there are no ways. Okay, so if it doesn't make sense, remember we talked about mistakes like spelling errors and things like that. So if that's giving you cause to think that it's not reliable, why? It's not reliable because maybe there's a lot of mistakes on your website? You can put that on there as one of the reasons why.
At work, I don't find it interesting. It says semester dog.
So there's some broken links on this page, so that would be another thing. Remember, find which there's broken links.
It's like I put broken links in it and I grammatical errors. I still want to play around on this. I'm pretty sure it's not acceptable. Let's keep save money. Those are fake trees.
Maybe that's a Christmas ornament.
Okay, guys. How many of you are almost finished? We spent a few minutes on this. Okay, how about this group back here? How are y'all doing? How are y'all doing? Y'all good? How about up here? Y'all almost finished? Okay, Lori?
Yeah, I'm just
How about y'all? Y'all good? Okay, so go ahead and start wrapping up. Make sure you got all 4 of the areas addressed.
They all look the same.
no. This one, don't put an X because it's not updated recently. Just put X's though and check mark for yes.
Yeah? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's just it's really bad. This is like literally late. It says take the plunge. Send us your dog.
So that's okay. Just go on to your next.
No.
But what I do see
Literally, it's just telling people to give up their dogs. Save your money. Legislation. Oh my God.
Wow, guys, if everybody will come back to me for a second. So we've spent about 5 or 6 minutes on this, and when you are evaluating a website, that's about all you need for your first evaluation. If it passed these four areas, finding it, right now you should be able to say, yes, this is a website I could use, or no, I'm gonna go find me a better source, okay? So everybody should be about, give me a thumbs up if your group's ready to move on. Yes? Yes? Y'all, yes? How about up here? Okay, excellent. So let's stop for a second and think. I heard lots of good conversations, and so let's start with y'all up here real quick. What website did you look at?
We did the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum.
Okay, so they did the Holocaust Museum, and what was your determination? Did y'all think it was credible?
Yes.
And based on what? So let's talk about the first one. Was it accurate?
Yes.
And why do you know it was accurate?
Well, there are lots of people like talking, and there are lots of key and true facts.
Okay, so there were a lot of facts. There were a lot of testimonials. That's the people that were talking that y'all were watching. They have testimonies. So if you have 100 people giving a testimony talking about this, we can say it's probably credible. Does anybody know what those testimonials of people that were actually there and experiences? Do you know what that's called? This is for future, y'all. Everybody look. It's called a primary source. A primary source. You're going to need that in social studies. There's primary and secondary. Primary means like a first-hand, like a letter that they wrote or a video of them talking about their experience. So that's a primary source. So if you have a bunch of primary sources, that is a key that is probably very credible or accurate. What else? Did you have anything else? What about reliable? Did you feel like it was a reliable source?
Yes.
Did they have a lot of information?
Yes.
Did they have any links that you could go to?
Well, yes.
And they were? Okay, very good. So they found that theirs was credible. Very good. Let's move on to the next one. Yes. Tell me about yours. What did y'all do? Well, first tell me what kind of website was it? A tree octopus. Sounds like it might be related to the spaghetti tree. So tell me, did y'all find it credible? Why not? Love it. Did y'all hear that? They found a lot of fake images that looked fake. So they had pictures and photographs, but you could tell that they were doctored or fake. Excellent. Good eye. What else?
It has a shop that wants you to buy from it.
Oh, do they want you to buy some tree octopuses? Oh, or octopi?
Yeah.
Lovely. So they're trying to make money, right? What else? Was there anything else that made you? Y'all are looking at that. Okay. Okay, so she said that they also had links, and they worked, but the links kind of linked back, and they were kind of the same, and they still looked, they looked kind of fishy. Okay, very good. So would you use that? No. What would you do? You'd go back and start your search again. Okay, back here, this group, what'd y'all find?
We did the Dog Island one, and this is not credible at all.
No.
Literally, it has ads everywhere for people to buy stuff.
And
And-
what kind of creeped us out the most
If you
is when
click
we
one of the
pressed on
links.
one of the links, it says, send us your dog.
Oh my goodness. Oh, dog nappers. Okay, so they are adamant that this is not a credible link because there were a lot of ads to buy things, buy this, buy that, and then they want you to send your dog to them. Okay. Anything else about that made you question?
Well,
It just had lots of
I-
ads.
and
it
did you
doesn't.
say it was updated? Wasn't it like
Oh,
2003?
it was copyrighted in 2003 to 2013.
Okay, so it wasn't very accurate either. Right, okay, very good. Excellent job. And how about this group back here? What'd y'all have?
We have ocean services.
Accurate. They're accurate. So it was very accurate. And so it was ocean services and it seemed to be accurate. Why do you think it was accurate? information, that the information seemed to be true. Now, if you're not 100% sure, you can go and cross-reference it with another website. What else?
Not biased.
You didn't feel like it was biased, so it wasn't trying to convince you or persuade you. Very good.
That you can buy.
Okay.
A bit.
It wasn't. Okay. What else?
It provides a lot of correct information.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So yours was reliable, unreliable, reliable, unreliable. So about 50%, right? Okay. Very good. Anybody have any questions on this? Okay. So let's move on. Y'all did a really good job. So this is about time for us to go. So what I would like for you to do, one is a homework. Okay? The next time you come to me, I would like for you to have by yourself, not as a group, but individually, I would like for you to have gone to a web page and check to see if it's a credible source or not. Evaluate that web page for me. So when you come in, so use your extra paper that you have in here. Just when you have some free time, how long does this take?
2 minutes. at
About
most.
5 minutes.
At 5 minutes. You can spend 5 minutes and do evaluate a web page. Just go to any web page and evaluate it for me. And I'd like to see some of the, if you have questions, put it on here, but I want to see that you can identify this. So use your checklist and use your graphic organizer and spend 5 minutes and evaluate any web page that you like, website. You know, y'all visit a lot of websites in class, so just do it real quick when you're doing that in class if you have a moment to do that, okay? So that's just a little extra homework that I would like for you to do. All right, so the last thing that we're gonna do, everybody grab a card. We're gonna do our quick exit ticket. And you're gonna like this one. This is gonna be fun. All right. Well, fun for me to read it. All right, so we're gonna do a $2 summary today. A $2 summary. So, you're gonna write a summary of something new you learned today. Say, it could be anything you learned new today. It could be something you read on the website that you didn't know from information. It could be something on the process. It could be something you clarified, like now you understand it, but you were kind of questioning it last time in our last lesson. Anyways, something new you learned today. Each word in your summary is worth 10 cents. And you can only spend $2 on your summary. So what do you have to do?
20 words.
Oh my gosh, you have to do math.
20
20
words.
words.
20 words.
20 words. Very good. You can do math. So how long do I want your summary to be?
20
words worth. That's my $2 summary for you today. Everybody understand? Okay. So give me at least a $2 summary. Or no more than a $2 summary. I'm not going to worry about that. You just get the point across. All right. So while you're finishing your $2 summaries, I'm going to come around and start picking up your materials. When you finish your summary, you can hand it to me and you can line up to go back to class. Thank you guys.